welcome to UnJustified, where we always cover the facts and the truth, the good, the bad, the ugly, the unbiased, and sometimes very unpopular opinion. In this video, we're going to be talking about a reclassification report. It is actually a hearing that Chris Watts had on January the 30th of 2020 this year. I have learned that some people wasn't aware of this hearing, and some people didn't even know that where Chris was at is pretty much like a transitional kind of place, and he has to stay there and learn how to get used to life in prison. And then every so often he will have a hearing there. The hearing is actually, is he going to be transferred to another facility or will he remain at Dodge? Well, his last hearing was January the 30th, 2020, and we're going to look over the report and we're going to read about that hearing. So let's just get right into it. Okay, let's just get started on this. This is page 1, and as you see, it's the inmate classification report for reclassification. It's got his name and his DOC number, of course, birth date, and this hearing date was actually on January the 30th of 2020. And what that hearing is this is to decide if he is to stay where he's at the Dodge Correctional, or if it's for him to be transferred into a different maximum security prison. Dodge is actually like a transitional place to where they will go and get used to life in prison. It says Watts is serving his first incarceration in Wisconsin as a new admission. He is here as an ICC case. ICC means Interstate Corrections Case. That means he's not from Wisconsin. His crime did not occur in Wisconsin, yet he was transferred to another state either for his own protection, which that is the case here, as well as kind of a transitional period for him to get used to life in prison. And that's also the case here. Serving a Colorado sentence, and he is not serving a Wisconsin sentence. Okay, and then this is just the case number from the District Court of Weld County, Colorado. He was charged murder 1 after deliberation, 2 accounts of murder 1 for a victim under 12 years old, a person of trust, pregnancy, unlawful termination, 1st degree, 3 accounts of tampering with deceased human bodies. Watts was sentenced on 11/19/18 to 5 life sentences without parole, 48 years in prison, and 3 12-year sentences. Per information provided by Colorado DOC, including the warrantless arrest affidavit on 8/13/18, officers received a call in regards to completing a wellness check on SW. SW was said to be 15 weeks pregnant and had not been feeling well. The caller was concerned because she had not heard from her and could not locate her. When the first officer arrived, a search of the house was conducted, and SW and her 2 children were not there. Watts stated that earlier that morning he had told her he wanted a marital separation. He stated they were not arguing but were emotional. He had then left work. All of SW's personal effects were in the house. When SW and the girls hadn't returned, by 8/14/18, a press release was issued. During the 2-day investigation, it was revealed that Watts was having an affair. He told police that after telling SW that he wanted a separation, he observed one of their daughters sprawled out on the bed and SW actively strangling the other daughter. Watts told detectives he went into a rage and strangled SW. He then loaded all 3 bodies into the back of his work truck and took them to an oil field. Watts told detectives he buried SW near 2 oil tanks, and he dumped his 2 daughters' bodies inside of the oil tanks. He identified the area for the detectives on an aerial photograph. When asked about his motivation, he states, "Honestly, I am still trying to piece all that together myself." He is trying to distance himself as much as he can right now from that moment. He states in the last week or so before this happened, they never really slept in the same room or talked much, arguing about their relationship, and it had all came to a head. A lot of the things were said that they didn't mean to each other. His current attitude? He is not currently appealing the case. He has been told to appeal it, but is not in the right state of mind to do this right now. He doesn't want to make people go through that process for just 2 or 3 years. He just wants to start the healing process right now, if that is even possible for him. In regards to his feelings toward the victims, he just kind of renewed his faith and talks to the victims through prayer. The victims are his family. On 12/19/19, Watts states the above statements are still accurate. He reports that he is continuing to use his faith to move forward and to help his family and the victims heal. This was dated 12/19/2019. That is when he gave that little interview to them. And his violations, he had no supervision violations. I'm going on down to page 2. This is just talking about he has no pending charges. 12/19, of course, that is when this was done. He has no juvenile record. He has no other records of an adult offense history. So this is really the only time he has ever been in trouble. I heard he's never even had a speeding ticket. And then it just goes on to say his Colorado records was he was in jail. There was no problems. He had no conduct issues whatsoever prior to this transfer. And going on down to the next page, page 3. They seen him. It was a pre-hearing. It was scheduled. Inmate comments from the pre-hearing. Watts was seen for his upcoming RC. He would like to appear before the committee, and he is requesting to remain at DCI at this time. Social worker recommends continued maximum custody with retention at DCI. Recommendations is based on time served, sentence structure, and institution adjustment. So you see, he has to adjust to living his life in prison. That's what this place is all about. Watts was polite and respectful during the duration of the interview. Unit staff report that Watts is quiet and reserved on the unit. I very rarely have much conversation with him. He has been up here for over a year, and sometimes it seems like he is brand new to the unit with the way he is so quiet. So it looks like he's even very, very quiet in jail. He's just a quiet guy, the quiet man. Most guys that have been on a unit for that amount of time start to become comfortable and almost become bothersome, but he doesn't. He doesn't give us any problems as far as behavior on the unit. Watts was admitted to DCI on 12/3/18. He has served 1 year towards his life sentence imposed by the state of Colorado. He was transferred to Wisconsin due to the high-profile nature of his case. He is currently on the wait list for DV. That would mean domestic violence. He has to go through those classes. He is currently involuntarily unassigned since admission. Of core assessment was completed on 1/2019, and Watts declined the opportunity to complete a case plan at this time. He was advised that if he were to decide he wanted to complete a case plan, just to write this: SW emergency contact information was reviewed and no changes needed at this time. COMPA's risk level recommendation is low. His violent risk is low, and his general population risk is low. Okay, now on page 4, we're actually getting into the report from the hearing he had. And this is the hearing. And he was there and present. And his comments were: Mr. Watt appeared and requested to stay at DCI. He realizes Colorado is not the best place for him. Well, no, they were trying to kill him. He stated that he prayed and God sent him here. He has his family in North Carolina, and they have been able to visit him here twice. Okay, going on down to page 5. This is pretty much the custody and site placement and program assignments. And of course it shows that his violent streak is low, general population risk low, supervision recommendations low. This is a scheduled recall. Mr. Watts is an ICC inmate who is serving a Colorado sentence. He has served over 1 year since he was admitted to DCI. He was sentenced to 5 life sentences without parole in Colorado, with additional sentences. This is his first period of incarceration in Wisconsin. His current offense includes convictions for 3 accounts of murder 1 after deliberation, 2 accounts of murder 1, victim under the age of 12, and a person of trust, pregnancy and unlawful termination 1st degree, and 3 accounts of tampering with deceased human bodies. He is currently involuntary unassigned. Conduct has been positive, with no conduct reports since his admission. Program needs: he remains on the wait list for domestic violence. He is ineligible due to excluded offense. UCP does not include any needs. Per DOC, the committee unanimously recommends maximum custody at DCI. Mr. Watts requested to remain at DCI, and the committee is in agreement with this request. Mr. Watts continues to be appropriate for maximum custody based on the dynamics of his current offense, which includes the loss of multiple lives and his overall time structure of 5 life sentences. Mr. Watts was requested to stay at DCI, and the committee is in agreement based on his continued positive conduct and his manageability at DCI. A 12-month recall is recommended for 1/2021. So I guess his next hearing is going to be in January of 2021, so they must do this reclassification hearing every year. The classification committee expects him to maintain positive conduct and enroll in programs if and when available. Inmate may request an administrative review of the classification decision by filing a current DOC 1292 administrative review of the reclassification form within 10 days of receipt of the final decision. Administrative reviews are based on erroneous information, not disagreement with custody and or placement recommendations. And then going on down, Again, it just says this is everything he's charged with. And he's low on any kind of worry. They don't worry at all about him. 5 life sentences without parole. He has a low, they don't think he's going to escape. His emotional things are moderate. He's had no major or minor conduct reports. His progress report is low. Risk rating, he's a high risk. And going on down, he's in maximum custody at the Dodge County Correctional Institution, and everything was auto-approved, their decisions. And his transfer priority is a C, so that means that he's getting close to being well enough and adjusted enough to move on. And the next time he will go up to see if he's ready to go to a different facility will be January the 1st, 2021. And that is the end of that report. I know there's really not a lot in it, but at the same time, there was some people that hadn't seen this, didn't even know that he had had that hearing this year. Some people wasn't even aware that Dodge was like a transitional place. And, you know, even though there wasn't a lot in it, there's a little bit, and it kind of helps people to understand the place he's at and what it's about. You know, I fully believe that maybe when he gets this next hearing in 2021, he's probably going to want to stay where he's at because he seems to really like it there, right? But the thing of it is I don't know if he will, because it looks like he's learning the ropes of prison pretty damn well. This place, for the most part, is for prisoners that are in hospice, prisoners that have mental problems, prisoners that are handicapped, elderly. Even right now they are, or they were, I'm sure they still are, I know they were about a month ago, they were quarantining the prisoners from Wuhan, where Stephen Avery's at. They were actually just quarantining them there at Dodge because Dodge has a big medical facility, a hospital, you know, so it's kind of a different sort of prison. So, but I know some people didn't know that, and then some of you are probably going to say, well, this is nothing, we already knew all this, but some people didn't. So, you know, I do this for the ones that don't know everything, you know, and haven't learned everything about the case, and there's many that's just now stepping into it, and so what I like to do is, instead of starting the new people out on just basically hearsays and thoughts and opinions, which I do throw my thoughts and opinions out there from time to time, but I like to also show the facts and the proof, because speculation is a narrow road, and a lot of people does not like speculations, theories. You know, everybody is entitled to their own thoughts and opinions, but speculation and theories is causing some issues. So yeah, it's not really a good thing to do anyway, because that is a good way to get misinformation spread, and that's never a good thing. It's always good to take your thoughts and opinions and base them off of facts. and you're gonna have a theory. That's just the way it is. There's no way around it. But at the same time, as long as your theory is based off of facts and it's not too far out there, and you're not throwing things in there that's not fact, then, you're pretty much staying on the record. This is a very unique case. There's so many unanswered questions in this case. Even the detectives, the agents, all still till this day will tell you that this case is something that just took a hold of them because it was so unique. And so many unanswered questions that still till this day haven't been answered. Even though the case is closed and Chris is serving his time for what he did, it's still, there's so many things that just doesn't add up. And I don't think anyone can disagree with that fact. Many closed cases does this to many people, and this isn't the only one. There's many of them out there. This one just happened to take a hold of us like no other case ever has. I don't know why. I can't explain it. It's only thing I can tell you is simply because of all the what ifs and whys and shock factors and so many things, and not to mention that their life before all this happened was so exposed online, and there's so many videos. It's almost like you have a sense of knowing these people personally, even though you don't, you just feel like you do, because, Shanann opened that door to the world through her videos. She welcomed the world into her life and her family's life with her videos, and it just gives us a sense of knowing them like a good friend or something. And then even Chris, he's not in videos as much as she is, but he is in them. And he did appear to be such a great dad and a good husband. And then all of a sudden, boom, just out of the blue. So those questions that are unanswered may never be answered. But at the same time, at least if you know the facts and the truth of the case, if you're out there and you hear somebody throwing some bogus stuff out there where you're going to be like, no, that's not how it went. Because I try to throw it all out there to you guys. This is factual and truthful and unbiased as these records and discoveries and facts and interviews and videos will tell us, We go by that, and that's all we got to go by. We have circumstantial evidence. That's what we have. And even though it's a closed case, I still believe that this case is going to be used in a lot of things. I even believe it'll be used in investigation classes, future detectives maybe, even law firms. I believe this case is going to be used a lot, simply because it is so unique and it is so out of the ordinary. Unbelievable. Okay, guys, I hope you got something out of this video, and until next time, this is UnJustified.